Okay. Ay, yan. Tapos na po ba? Natapos po ba tayo, guys? Okay, can we now proceed with the presentation? Siguro mag-roll call na lang ako. Or yung isa magre-present ng project charter and then yung isa magre-present ng SIPOC. Okay? So, let's go with group number 5 for project charter and group number 3 for SIPOC diagram. Okay, so you may now share your screen. Very short lang tapos I'll give feedback. Okay, and then yung feedback ko na yon, it's good for the group and good for everyone's group, no, for the input. Okay? So, group number 5 for project charter and group number 3 for SIPOC diagram.
Good afternoon po, sir.
Good afternoon din po. Sige po, you may proceed na po.
So we are group 5 po. Ito yung presentation chart. So first slide po, yung problem po nilagay po namin as basis. So next. Ito po yung nagawa po namin chart. So for the business case, nilagay po namin yung problem, yung namin po parang background of the study. And may lead time of hot copy as well as discount po 1.268 minutes versus the direct lead time of 15 minutes. Nakuha po siya sa main po ng lahat po ng data po.
Okay po, pwede pa explain ng problem statement saka po ng objective statement.
So sa problem statement po, yung average lead time po nung serving hot coffee is 16.6 to 8 minutes. So ayun nga po, based sa pag-average po ng lahat po ng data. And nakuha na 1.268 minutes longer in average sa target lead time 15 minutes. So ginawa po namin ng parang graph po, primary metric po. Nandyan po yung green line na yan, yun yung target. And yung blue line po is yung mean. And makita mo dyan sa chart, madaling makita kung which weeks na miss yung target and which weeks na achieve yung target. Tapos sa objective statement po, yung sabi niya nga po sa kanya sa explanation niya, with response to the problem statement, the objective statement natin is to reduce the lead time of serving hot coffee from an average of 60 to 68 minutes to 15 minutes. So project scope, this project will focus on the reduction of lead time in serving hot coffee to retain customers and grow the business. We created a project timeline, so we'll define week 1 to week 2, measure week 3 to 4, analyze 5 to 7, and improve 8 to 10, control 11. So for the consequential metric naman po, since isang naisip namin na consequential metric, pag binilisan mo yung lead time is yung product quality. So pag binilisan mo, syempre may chance na yung product quality bababa kasi mararush yung process. So project benefits, lead time decreased by 1.268 minutes and existing customers are retained, increased customer base. So ito po, ginagawa po namin ng project team and ginaya po namin yung format sa sinenyo po. Project team plus approvers. Yun lang po, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Na-note ko na. No? So, salamat po doon. Group 5. Now, let's proceed with the SIPOC diagram of group number 3.
Hello po.
Yes po, yes.
Okay. So, for our SIPOC diagram, so first is the supplier. Since in the given case, there was no given specific supplier, so we assumed na the supplier is coffee bean suppliers, maybe from local or international suppliers. And for input are the manpower, raw materials, and equipment. So the manpower includes the cashier, barista, the guard, and etc. For the raw materials, the coffee beans, milk, and for the equipment are coffee espresso machine and other necessary equipment used um, in creating coffee. Then for the process, it is composed of three parts, which is first is the taking of orders, next is the brewing of coffee, and lastly is the serving of orders. Then for the output is simply the coffee products, and lastly for the customer are the coffee shop consumers. So this may not be limited to coffee lovers, but uh, anyone in general who wants coffee. That's it po. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Ayan, no? So, I think I'll explain some points. So, good job for group number 5 and group number 3. Okay? So, now, let me explain. Regarding doon sa case, yan, tama naman yung paggagawa ng project charter. So, always remember, no, yung consequential metric, ito yung mga metric na maapektuhan negatively kapag hindi mo ginawa yung pag hindi mo ginawa yung proposal, for example, or hindi mo ginawa yung project, no. So ayun yung maapektuhan negatively. Tapos for the sake of everyone din, yung project benefits, siguro kahit estimation na lang muna, but it is in monetary format. Okay, monetary form po yung project benefits. Now for the SIPOC diagram, so I suggest naka-process format, no? 5 to 7 process step. So paki-breakdown, so ibig sabihin from taking your orders, from taking your orders, ayan. Like payment, 'di ba? Yung payment, tapos ipapunch mo pa yung order sa sa barista, tapos i-measure ni barista yung mga ingredients, ibubrew niya, may coffee. So, pwede mong i-breakdown doon, pero basta pagka-shine mo lang from 5 to 7 process step. Kasi pagdating mo ng measure, dito natin siya i-expound. Okay? I-expound na natin siya into detailed process map. Okay? So now, ayun po yung input ko, no, for the SIPOC diagram. Tapos yung input natin doon, requirement to make the process. Yan. So focus tayo sa process rather than the product itself. Okay? As input. So kasi nga sabi ko sa inyo, dalawang klase yung SIPOC. Ito ay naka-product based, yung isa ay process based. So I suggest doon tayo sa process based na layout as requirement. Okay? Baka may iba rin kasi gumawa. So for improvement din ng ating output. Okay, now let's close the book for the let's go close the book for the define phase, and now let's go to measure phase. No? So measure phase, it's all about having the right data. Yan, right data. So when we say data, these are the very raw information na nakukuha natin, 'di ba, from a setup. So measure phase, so ang mga deliverables natin dito, makagawa tayo ng process map, okay? Tapos mare-revise natin yung project charter if ever. So now, let's start with the process map. So we all know how to make or how to draft a process map. Okay, so napagdaanan natin yan. Marunong po ba mag-draft ng process map? Or meron pa ditong needs thorough support for that? So process map, it's a drawing version of the process. So importante kasi from project charter, okay? So from project charter na ginawa, nandun yung project scope. Kumbaga, the major boundary, no? After the project scope, magiging SIPOC yan. This is the main boundary of your process. At yung SIPOC na yan, yung 5 to 7 process step na yan, magiging process map yan. So dito na natin siya i-expound. So this is a visual representation of your process. At may mga symbols to na ginagamit. So we have the ellipse to denote start and end points. We have the rectangle to define activity. We have the diamond for the decision box, arrows, and connector. So dito, ang tawag dyan ay on-page connector. On-page. Kasi, example, no, ito yung isang page. Tapos, let's say, meron kang process. Ayan. Tapos, pwede mong gawa ng letter A yan, tapos ituloy mo na siya dito. Ayan. Okay? Kaya siya tinawag na on-page connector. Next is the off-page connector. Same principle, pero yung kadugtong naman niya nasa kabilang page. So, this is the A. Kunwari, isang page yan. Tapos next page mo na, ayan, ganito naman yan, yung receiving page. A. Tapos dire-diretso. Okay, that's the off-page connector. Okay, so now, ito yung gagawin nating out gathering. Kasi, this is where you know where to get your data or whom to get your data. Okay, so ito ay isang example ng process map natin. Nag-register ka sa training, nandito na tayo sa pangalawang step which is attending your training, tapos nag-take ka ng exam, pumasa ka ba? Kapag no, you retake the exam. And then kapag yes, then therefore you award your certificate. No? So, keynotes natin dito, remember, process map is a living document. Ibig sabihin, from time to time, ay na-update natin yung ating process map. So, this should be created by individuals from the process or subject matter experts. So, here's the question. What if yung actual process natin ay hindi siya nagtutugma doon sa ating process map or sa documented nating process. So now, nasaan ang mali? Can you show it in the chat box? Is it the actual or the process map? Paano pag hindi nagtutugma yan? Nagpunta ka doon, for example, sa linya, hindi nagtugma yung actual doon sa process map. So therefore, ano yung mali kaya? Okay, process map, actual, process map. Okay, hati, no? Hati. Okay, so actually, it depends. No? It depends. Ngayon, nagpunta ka doon. Let's say, nakita mo yung nakita mo yung worker, nag-i-skip siya ng process or nag-alter siya ng process. Yan, no? Yes, on point, Miss Mikey, no? Pwede kasing nakapag-improvise siya ng better process, kaya iba. Basta as long as walang nako-compromise na quality or cost, okay? Tapos nagbago yung process, si actual yung tama. So it's time to benchmark or gayahin or i-document yung actual na ginagawa niya. Pero kapag may mga nako-compromise kang quality, risk, or cost, therefore, si process map yung tama. Okay? So, siguro, kung hindi siya nagagawa dahil kung hindi nagagawa yung isang bagay kasi, let's say, nahihirapan si worker, siguro it's time to revisit the process map. No? Baka kasi dati, matangkad yung nasa linya, kaya ganon, no? Tapos na-adapt na, so ngayon nahihirapan yung mga tao ergonomically. So, it defines or it differentiates from time to time. Now, let's talk about a deployment process map. So, ganito yung gagawin nyo. Merong mga swim lane. Okay? So, this is an example of a deployment process map for a requisition ng material. So, yung logo, yung yung symbol na to is that this is a document symbol. Kunwari, nag-request siya ng material sa store. Oh, available ba? Kapag yes, i-issue mo na siya sa production. Pero kapag no, i-request na yan sa purchasing. O, purchasing, kailangan ko ng gantong material. O, si purchasing, okay, magja-job order siya kay supplier. O, na-receive ni supplier yung order. Gagawin na ni supplier yung order, tapos isi-ship niya na. Pagka-ship niya, pwedeng kay purchasing muna, or pwedeng diretso na kay store for quality checking. Tapos pagka-receive, mag-i-issue ka na, sa magre-receive na si production. Okay? So, ginagawa natin to para alam natin kung saan tayo maghahanap ng data. At kung sino yung hahanapan natin ng data. Okay? So, this is your first output, a detailed deployment process map. So, yung sipok nyo, i-expand nyo, gagawin nyo siyang ganito. Now, ano ba yung mga tips para sa process mapping? Well, huwag kang mag-map ng isang process for the sake na magmamap ka lang ng process. Okay? So, you walk the process, pumunta ka doon, mag-gemba walk ka, i-check mo yung actual process ang ginagawa nila, and then you map what the process really is, not only for the requirement. And ito nga, keep it simple. Baka naman third leagues level na, wag naman ganun. Okay? So now, this is your first output, process mapping. So the next part is, let's now go with the data. No? Data ng LSS. So, review natin, y is a function of x. So, ibig sabihin nito, lahat under the define and measure phase, lahat ng data involved dyan is revolving around the y or the output. Mini-measure mo yung defect rate, mini-measure mo yung defective units. Okay, mini-measure mo yung lead time, that's your output. And then you're defining the problem. So lahat yon ay nasa y. Ngayon, the transformation of your data going to information takes analyze phase, which is statistics. So statistics is the science of collecting, classifying, interpreting your data. So ito yung equal sign. Okay? Analyze phase. And now, si improve and control, nakafocus na siya doon sa mga factors. Doon sa mga root causes, sa mga key factors or key excess, which is ito ay nasa function of x. And those are always activated by measurements. Okay, data collection. So, under data collection, paano ba tayo magko-collect ng data? So, first is, ano ba yung mga data na i-collect mo? Dapat very related siya dun sa ating problem. Tapos, develop a collection plan. Paano mo i-collect? Okay, are you going to do a time study? Are you going to do the survey, etc. Diba? So, ganun siya. Ayan. Pag nalaman mo na yan, you go get your data. So, ano ba yung mga example ng primary data na kakailanganin natin? Example, if you are measuring the output yield, therefore, yung mga factors commonly na incorporated doon is ano yung model part na yan, saan galing yan, line source, kailan yan nangyayari, date, time, and shift, sino yung operator na gumagawa dyan, ano yung age ng operator, at gano'n na ba siya katagal. Ayun yung mga factor commonly na connected sa yield. But when you are measuring attendance, so you have to measure the gender, the status, the tenure shift, process, ba yan, anong shift siya at anong group siya. Gender, pwede kasing male-female, no? So, may factor yan sa attendance, right? So, pwede siyang umabsent, gawa ng dysmenorrhea. Status, commonly kapag single, no, konti lang ang absent rather than married or with children. Tenureship, ayan, bago pa lang ba yan or matagal na yan? So in terms of process, ayan, no, baka naman hindi niya kaya yung process kaya siya uma-absent or ayaw niya doon sa shift niya or hindi niya kaya yung graveyard shift for example or hindi maganda yung mga kasama or hindi mabait yung mga kasama niya, hindi niya mapakisamahan yung mga nasa group niya. Pwedeng ganun yung mga factors. That's why those are the relevant data that is really connected to your primary data. Example, ito, lead time yung kinakollect mo. This is an example of data collection plan. So, ito yung isang gagawin nyo rin. So, operational definition, so define nyo. Baka kasi yung lead time, it's a time from umorder ka hanggang ma-serve. Pero sa production system perspective kasi, when you say lead time, it's the start of the process until the end of the process. Okay? So, kapag naman sa inventory, sa logistics, when you say lead time, from the time na umorder ka hanggang ma-receive mo yung order mo. Next is the sampling plan. Kailan mo kukunin yung lead time na yan? Let's say every order. Tapos paano mo ikokollect yan? Pwede nga magawa ng time study or your screen monitoring. At sino yung in charge dyan? Si RSO. So now let's focus on the data statistics, no, in the measure phase. So statistics, sabi ko sa inyo, is a language of data conversion, science of collecting, classifying, etc. So it provides you a summary or a better decision making. So we use the data approach. Kung meron kang data, therefore magkakaroon ka ng insight or mag-develop ka insight and it's up to you to make a decision. Ano ba yung flow nito? Example, sabi sa TV, uulan daw or makulimlim, ganyan. So therefore, ang insight mo, uulan mamayang hapon. So therefore, ang decision mo for that is magdadala ka ng payong. That is the did approach. So ano ba yung mga measurement skills na present dito sa measure phase? Kasi very important na you know the type of your data before you go into the analysis. Okay? So ano ba yung mga types ng data natin? We have categorical and numerical. So when we say it's a categorical, meron siyang dalawang subtype which is a nominal and ordinal. When we say nominal, yung order ng mga categorical variables or ng mga strings. Okay. Sorry nawala ako. Either yung mga strings kasi sa data ay categorical, character. Okay, yung order nan ay hindi nagma-matter. Male, female, wala namang male muna tas female, walang ganon. So either yan, no? So languages do you speak? English ba yan? French, German, or Spanish? It's unlike between this one. Kapag educational background naman. Educational background, kailangan yan, importante yung order mo. So, elementary, high school, undergrad, then graduate school, postgraduate, etc. So, those are the ordinal data under categorical. Now, under numeric naman, when si interval, let's say ito ay equal equal differences. So let's say this is positive 5. Diba? Positive 5. 5. Ayan. So, interval. Merong difference yung mga choices. But when we say ratio, wala siyang ratio values are the same as interval, nakapareho. Pero ang kaibahan lang, meron silang absolute zero. Like temperature, meron silang absolute zero. Ito, wala. Wala naman tayong 0 inches. Right? So, ganun siya. So, under data types, meron tayong tinatawag na continuous and discrete. Continuous, ito na tatandaan nyo. Lahat ng data na may label. Label. So, ano ba yung mga data na may label? Length of a part, meters, centimeters, weight of a cereal box, grams, kilograms, cycle time, seconds, minutes, hours. Okay, so lahat na may label or may unit of measure, continuous yan. Na tinatawag na data. Pag sinabi natin discrete, ito naman ay countable. Nabibilang naman. So, number of customer complaints, number of defects. So, nabibilang naman siya. Now, under the measure phase, you also have the precision versus accuracy, you know? So, paano ba yung dalawang yan? So, explain ko muna yung measure na central tendency. Okay. It's between the mean, median, mode, no? Mean is that kino-consider mo lahat. Okay? Para makuha yung gitna. Si median, sa tingin nyo, anong difference niya kay mean? What's the mean? In terms of usage. Any answer? O bakit, or kailan ba ginagamit si median? Kailan ginagamit si mean? Yes, very good. Sa gitna lang kasi naka-base si median. So therefore, wala siyang pakialam sa outlier. Okay? Unlike ni mean, may pakialam siya kay outlier kasi lahat ng data points, i-consider niya. Okay? So that's the difference between mean and median. Yung mode naman, well, yun na nga. Most frequent occurring value. Now, let's talk about dispersion. Range is the difference between maximum and minimum value. Madali lang yan, 9 minus 1 o 8 ang range natin. But here goes the challenging part. Ano pinagkaiba ni standard deviation at ni variance? Kung si standard deviation ito at si variance ito, so what's the major difference in terms of usage? Kaya, so tingin nyo. Okay, ganito. Let's relate it this way. No, para mas makarelate kayo. Sino dito mga nag-move on ngayon? Meron ba? Let's give an example. May mga nag-move on ba dito sa ating session ngayon? Or may kilala ba kayo na sa process ng pag-move on? Yung kahit hindi naging sila, pero nag-move on siya. Di ba? Ang galing. Nag-level up ngayon. Ang dami po nag-whisper sa akin. No? Ayan. Okay. Sige ha. Ganito tayo. +1 kapag nakaka-move on ka. Okay. -1 tayo kapag tingin nyo hindi. Okay? Now, let's start. Ito ka. So, nagmo-move on ka. Ito yung finish line mo. Okay? So, ito yung finish line mo. So, my question dyan is, so, nag-break up kayo ng jowa mo. No? Nag-break up kayo. So, ngayon, ano yung una mong ginagawa kapag nag-break up kayo? Pag galing ka sa break? Ano yung unang ginagawa? Iiyak. Ay wow, dasal agad. Talaga ba? Talaga ba, Charmaine? Yan. Okay. Iiyak ka muna. Sige, +1. No? +1. Ayan. Hanap. Ay, grabe naman. Di ko na sasabihin to. Pero may nag-miss mo sa hanap daw agad ng bago. Grabe. Santo mo ba si Taylor Swift at ganun kakabilis mag-move on? Uy, grabe naman, Patricia. Di kami naghanap ng bago, no? Nagko-confide muna kami. Kinakausap muna namin yung family namin, yung friends. Diba? We seek professional support. De joke lang. Okay. Iiyak, +1. Teka lang. I-run natin yung mga iinom daw ng tubig. Iiyak, okay. Shot, ayan, senti mode, sige, +1. Ano pa mga ginagawa natin pag nag-move on tayo? Pag nag-move on, iinom, sige. Ayan, dami. Dasal po ulit. Kukulong sa kwarto. Ayan. Tatakbo, tatalon, sisigaw ang pangalan mo. Ayan. Next. After mo mag-iiyak, ano gagawin mo? Unfriend mo sa Facebook, di ba? Pero may tip ako sa inyo, ganito. Bago nyo i-unfriend, i-report nyo po na as dead. Tapos tsaka nyo i-block. Para magsarado yung Facebook niya, di ba? Para damay-damay na to. De joke lang. Ayan, report as spam muna. Report as spam lang. Report as spam, tapos block. Ayan. Para hindi niya na ma-access yung account niya, di ba? Ayan. After niyo ma-report yan, syempre may messenger pa, bukod yun, di ba? So, bago mo i-block sa messenger, babasahin mo muna yung message, tipo nakaabot ka na ng 3 years message, tapos i-try mo muna i-up mo muna yung message na hindi kita iiwan. Tapos i-up mo. Tapos update nga po, ganun. De joke lang. Ayan, tapos, ayan, no? So, ganun, babasahin mo muna. -1. Kasi, syempre, magulgul ka ulit dyan. Tapos, binura mo na yung mga pictures. Okay? Ayan. Tapos, ganito sunod nangyari. No? Ganito sunod nangyari. Nakita mo yung best friend mo kasama yung ex mo. Doon sa friend na sabi niya, "Huwag kang mag-alala doon, friend ko lang yun." Mga gaano kaya kalaking minus yun? Let's say mga -4. Awit, no? Awit. Talaga, Charmaine, love you, no? Ayan. Pain, no? Ayan. So, mga -4 yun. Ayan, pighati. Huwag ka ma-hurt. Uy, meron ba dito? Sorry meron ba ako pinapatamaan dito? Sorry Ay, okay, next. Next. Nakita mo sila, no? Kasi dahil naka-block, so yung friend mo nag-upload ng picture na sa beach, doon sa favorite yung dapat na beach na pupuntahan, tapos nakita mo siya magkakabay, no? So -4 yon. Ikaw yung nag-organize ng get together, tapos ikaw yung wala. 'Di ba? Okay, next. Next. Dahil wala na sa Facebook, wala na sa social media, nag-inom ka na, etc. Tapos yan to, nag-text yung nanay ng ex mo. Tapos ang tawag sa'yo, anak, kamusta ka na? Re-replyan mo? O -100 points sa langit? Sige. Ibablock mo rin ba si tita? Sige Ayan. Ni-replyan mo, tita, sama mo si tita sa pag-move on. Tita, okay lang po ako at sana po okay lang din yung anak niyo. Ganon. Yan. Siyempre, hindi ka ulit ako kasi bumalik yung memory, no? So, -1 ulit. No? Ano pa mga pangyayari pag nag-move on ka? Di ba? Di makatulog sa gabi, sa kakaisip, sa diwa ko ikaw pa, ang aking panaginip. Ayan. Sa, tipong everywhere you look, naaalala mo, sinutok yung pader. Tapos gumawa ng music video. Ayan, no? So, naaalala mo siya lagi, di ba? Guys, wala akong pinagdadaanan na. Data gathering lang tayo, okay? Ngayon, check natin yung finish line, ha? I-total natin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Babalik po sa X. Grabe! Yun po yung finish. Sige, try natin bumalik sa X. Naka-move on ka ba nun? Sige, try natin yung plus 1. Rupok ka, girl. No? Hindi ko alam na yung peanut brittle pala nasa Mapua na. Wala na pala sa Baguio. Okay, ilan to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ilan yung minus natin? 1, 2, 3 plus 4, negative 7. Ngayon, let's say, naka-move on ka ba? Yes or no? Diba? Sa lahat ng mga pinagagawa nyo, naka-move on ka ba? See? Diba? Ayan. Uy, grabe may issue. Mamaya na yung issue, no? Ayan. So, diba? See, ilan yung distance mo? Hindi ka naka-move on. 0. That is standard deviation. Diba? Kasi ang standard deviation, let's say, 10 plus minus 2. May plus, may minus, may plus, may minus. So, hindi mo nakakuha yung totoong distance. Unlike kapag ginawa mo siyang square, binariance mo siya, okay? So, ang lesson dito, dapat ikahon mo na siya. De joke lang. Ayan. Pag in-square mo siya, magiging positive yung dulo. Okay? So, therefore, di ba, makukuha mo yung absolute distance ng data from the center. Okay? So, that's the principle of standard deviation and variance. So, I hope natutunan nyo. So, huwag nyo kalimutan ang moving on example. Okay? Naintindihan po ba? Baka may umiiyak na dyan, ha? Guys, I never meant to start a war. No? I just wanted you to let me in. And instead of using force, I just wanted you to let me in. Ayan. Hindi, puro kanta yung mga lyrics. Anyway, ayun. Ayun yung analogy ng standard deviation at variance. So, I hope na-gets niyo yung gusto ko na iparating. Okay? So, now, punta tayo dito sa accuracy versus precision. No? So, mukha lang siya magkamukha. Mukha lang siya magkamukha yung meaning niya, pero hindi. So, when we say accuracy, okay? So, when we say accuracy, this is clustering. And when we say precision, this is targeting. Ay, sorry, baliktad. Ako nagkamali. Accuracy is targeting. Precision is clustering. Gusto natin yung mga data set natin on target at clustered like this one. Okay? High accuracy, high precision. But when we say this one, low accuracy, kasi off target, pero high precision, highly clustered siya. Tapos ito naman, high accuracy, ibig sabihin on target siya, pero low precision. Hindi siya magkaka-cluster. Pwedeng ganyan. And ito naman, hindi na nga, off target na nga, okay? Off target na nga, tapos, hindi pa siya clustered. So, low accuracy, low precision. And ito yung target, ito yung pinaka-target natin under Six Sigma. Gusto natin, our data is clustered and on target. Okay? So, that's the difference between accuracy and precision. So, now, here's the question, no? How would we know that the data we have gathered reflects a reliable source? So, dito tayo nagkakaroon ng MSA. Okay, sa under measure phase. Dito natin tinatry i-verify yung data kasi when you upgrade into green belt, ito yung mga layer of questions that the DMAIC answers. Okay, nag-gather mo yung data. Is your data normal? Is it normal? So magra-run ka ng normality test. Tapos na ba kayo sa stat? No? Yan kay Ma'am Boris, tapos na ba kayo doon? So, is it normality? Ano ba yan? Is it normal? Ayan. So, nag-run tayo ng normality test para i-check kung normal distribution ba siya or hindi. Kasi kapag normal, parametric test. Kapag not normal, non-parametric test. So, is it normal? By the way, si Ma'am Boris isa sa mga panelists ko. Tsaka si Ma'am Janice. Ayan. Anyway, next. Is it normal? The next question is it reliable? So mag-run tayo ng reliability test. So in this case, we check the variation in terms of reliability, in terms of randomness. So we are using some tools such as Gauge RNR, MSA, ayan, MSA. So doon natin check yung reliability ng data. The next question would be, is it capable? Kasi si Michael Hari, no, naniniwala siya na walang consistent na bagay dito sa mundo. Kahit gaano ka pa consistent ngayon, pagdating ng araw, magbabago ka rin. Tama ba yon? Tama, di ba? Di ba? Kahit gaano ka consistent, magbabago ka rin pagdating ng panahon. Ang tawag dyan ay Sigma shift. Ayan, di ba? Sigma shift ang tawag dyan na. For example, this is your normal curve. So, through time, through wear and tear, okay, yung kunwari ito yung mean niya, magbabago yan, mag-move yan ng, okay, ang distance ng movement nan ay 1.5 sigma. Okay? So, ito yun. Tawag dyan ay sigma shift. So, ibig sabihin, over time, nagbabago ang isang data. Pwedeng wear and tear, pwedeng, minsan napapagod, ganyan. So, it's either to the right or to the left. Pero ang movement nan is 1.5 sigma. So, the question is it capable? Kasi pwedeng kaya mo ngayon, sige, kaya mo ngayon, or capable yung data mo ngayon, pero in the long run, hindi na. Or, pwedeng hindi pa siya pwede ngayon, pero in the long run pwede siya. So doon tinatanong or doon naka-question yung capability ng data. If you still remember, capability index, process capability index, the CPK, okay, and the PPK. Ayan 'yon. Okay? So ngayon, the fourth question is it significant sa analyze phase na to dinidiscuss. Okay, yung tatlo lang yan. So, normal, reliable, capable. So, ayun, galing na, di ba? Parang nakapag-green belt na kayo. So, dito sa yellow belt, we just asking, how do we know if our data is reliable? So, based only on the variation, kasi ganito yan eh. Kapag yung data na nakuha mo in the first place, hindi na reliable, therefore, yung result din nun ay hindi rin magiging reliable. That is the garbage in, garbage out principle. No? Ang mini-measure na is variation. Gaano ba ka-variated yung ating or gaano ba ka-random yung ating data? Kasi ganito siya, no? Kapag normal ang ating data, ibig sabihin random. At ibig sabihin kapag random ang data natin, okay, good ang kanyang variation. Or ibig sabihin no pattern. Wala siyang pinagbabasihan, very random. Ito yung kailangan natin. Ngayon, in terms of variation, in terms of differences, may dalawang causes yan. The true variation or the natural cause of variation and the measurement system error. Ito naman yung mga controllable. So in terms of natural variation, ito yan. You can memorize it through swipe. Standard, workpiece, instrument, person, or procedure, and environment. So, normal yan na magkaroon ng ganyang variation through that natural causes. However, yung mga measurement system error, pwede siyang ma-derive from precision and accuracy error, clustering and targeting error. So when we say precision, which is the clustering, Okay? Yan. So, ito ay na-measure using gauge R&R. You can search this one. Gauge R&R, it means repeatability and reproducibility. So, repeatability, also known as within, no? Within the worker, ito naman ay between the worker. So, example, ako, inspector, no? Let's say, mineasure ko yung marker ko 10 times. Tapos, out of the 10 times, inconsistent yung measurement ko. Okay? Gaano kataas or kababa yung inconsistency ko. So, gusto natin mababa yung inconsistency. Kasi gusto mo consistent ka. Diba? That is repeatability. Pero pag 5 kaming inspector, tas ako lang yung naiiba, therefore, I have different result from the other, that is reproducibility. Okay? So, unlock our green belt para mas matutunan natin yan, no? Ayan. Next is the accuracy. So we have the stability, bias, and linearity. So when we say bias, ito yung skewness ng ating data. Okay? So skewness. But when we say stability, ito yung pag-skew ng ating data over time. And when we say linearity, okay? So ito in terms of direction, is it negative correlation, positive correlation? Ayan, no? So those are the differences or the sources of variation. Now, for your workshop, under measure phase workshop, so create a detailed deployment process map. Okay? Tapos, di ba may process map na kayo? Pili kayo doon sa process map na yon. Ano kayang step dito yung nagko-contribute sa ano yung problem natin? Di ba? Not meeting target lead time of 15 minutes. Ito yung pinaka-problem natin. Anong step doon sa detailed deployment process map natin yung nagko-cause ng ganitong delay? Please choose at least 5. 5 steps or process, no? Or activity. Yan, activity na nagko-contribute sa delay. After that, we identify ano ba yung mga waste. Ito yung downtime. Pili ka ano bang waste yung present doon sa napili nyong step. After that, kunwari tabulate nyo, no? Step. Tapos anong waste? Tapos ano yung quick wins nyo dito? Parang paano nyo ma-address, okay? Paano nyo ma-address yung waste na na-identify nyo? Okay, that is the quick win. Okay, so ito kasi yung result nyo dito, kung nakapili na kayo ng 5 steps, ayan yung hihimay-himayin nyo pagdating ng analyze phase. Okay? So now, detailed deployment process map, identify steps that contribute to the problem, and then create the quick win na table. So step, ano yung waste na present, at ano yung quick win na maibibigay or na may address na yung waste. Okay? So now, before we open the breakout room, so do you have any questions for me for the measure phase? So may mga tanong po ba tayo? Naintindihan po ba natin ang measure phase? Okay, kung naintindihan nga, please type number 23. Ayan, salamat sa mga nag-23. So, pakitaya na lang po sa loto. Okay, so dahil naintindihan naman natin, so I'll be opening the breakout room. So, I'll be opening it for 45 minutes again. And then, yun, sigaw lang ng Darna pag may tanong. Okay, so I'll be happy to assist you. So, open na po.
So, yung ano lang, waste walk lang yung gagawin, hindi nakasama yung iba? Sabi wastewater lang.
Oh, wait. Wait, what? Hindi ba kasama yung, ano?
Hindi niya binanggit yung data collection.
Detailed deployment process map, tapos ano ba yung iba? Data
Yung
collection. Oo
wastewater.
nga, bakit? Ano lang ba tayo? Measure phase? Measure phase lang ba?
Measure, oo.
Ba't ano nangyari?
Hindi niya sinama yung data collection.
Tanong ba natin?
Wait lang. Wait lang. Measure, process map, 8 ways, quick wins. Ano ba yung pinakita niya sa atin kanina na Dimaik? Baka kasi bigla niya tanong, paano niya nalaman yung data collection?
Ano?
Diniscuss niya kanina eh.
Yung,
Data collection.
oo nga.
Okay, oo nga, nakita ko na. Adi,